one more minute to see if we have anybody jumping on. And Carter, I see your request to give you permission to record. I am recording it and I will share it. But if multiple can record it, I can do that at the same time. I'm happy to do that if that's
Jordon, can you come in here for just a second?
Sure.
I think you're safe. It's all in the usage.
Okay.
Okay, did I get it enabled that you are able to record individually if you would like? Or are you okay with me just sharing the file at the end? If you need a different option on recording, please let me know. All right. Carter, I went into the recording settings and I recorded a separate audio file for each participant, but is there somewhere separate where I need to do a separate video file? Sorry, I'm not familiar with this.
Devin, back up just a little bit so the light's on your face instead of on your back.
Oh, the lights are under here.
I don't know. We got to get your handsome face in the light. That's better.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Carter, for your understanding. I will just share that as soon as this recording finishes up. So thank you. All right, well, welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today and for your interest in Dixie State University and our name recommendation process. We appreciate you joining us this morning at the name recommendation committee meeting and now in this virtual press conference, and for all the arrangements you had to make to be here virtually. We really appreciate you being here. So I'm just going to do a quick overview. So I'll just give us a few instructions, and then I'm going to turn the time over to committee chair Julie Beck, and she will read the university's official statement. And then after that is done, I will open it up for questions. If you can use the raise hand icon, then I will call on you as in the order that I see you. I'll try my best to make sure I get you in the right order. And then we'll do questioning. We have about 30 minutes total, so about 11:05 we'll have to wrap things up. And then after that, I will be sending the recording, like I mentioned, as well as a link to Love's study. And then a little bit later after that, I will be sending a press release in case there's any additional information that you did not get. And of course, you can always reach out to me. So with that, oh, and then also dixie.edu/name process will be updated a little bit later this afternoon as well. And so that'll have all the information that you need. So with that, just thank you so much. And we are recording, as you are all aware. So I want you to be sure that you're aware of that and okay with that. And then with that, we're going to go ahead and turn the time over to Julie Beck, and then I will introduce our committee and we'll get started with questions. Chair Beck.
Thank you. The Dixie State University Name Recommendation Committee voted to recommend Utah Polytechnic State University as the new institutional name. The name will establish the university as an institution that serves and benefits students from the entire state while providing a broad local identifier to those outside of Utah. The inclusion of Polytechnic highlights the university's academic mission to be the nation's first open, inclusive, comprehensive polytechnic university. Under this academic focus, the university combines active and applied learning with a strong foundation in liberal arts and sciences to prepare students to meet industry demands. Additionally, the term state university emphasizes the comprehensive nature of the university's more than 200 academic programs. Following the examples of universities like Cal Poly, Texas Tech, and Virginia Tech, we will prepare students to fulfill the regional workforce needs, specifically in tech, healthcare, engineering, and other similar sectors, while remaining a comprehensive university. In line with the national standard for polytechnic universities to be known by a shorter name, alternative names suggested for future consideration and research include Utah Tech, Utah Polytech, and UTech. Moving forward, the DSU Board of Trustees will set up a meeting to vote on the committee's recommendation. If the trustees approve the name, the recommendation will be presented to the Utah Board of Higher Education to be forwarded to the Utah State Legislature. The committee looks forward to presenting our recommendation to these bodies, as we are confident the Utah Polytechnic state name will effectively serve our students and alumni well for years to come.
Thank you, Chair Beck. So as I already introduced, that was Chair Julie Beck. She's the chair of the Name Recommendation Committee, as well as a member of the Dixie State University Board of Trustees. And then also joining our panel today, we have Dr. Jordon Sharp, also a committee member of the Name Recommendation Committee, as well as the Vice President of University Marketing and Communication here at Dixie State. We also have committee member Patricia Jones, who serves on the Utah Board of Higher Education, as well as the Name Recommendation Committee. And we also have Devin Osborne, who serves on the Name Recommendation Committee, as well as the 2020-2021 president of the Student Athlete Advisory Committee. So those are our introductions. And so with that, I'm happy to open it up for questioning. Do we have any questions?
Yeah, this is Carter with KSL.com. I was just waiting for someone to jump in there. Yeah, this is Carter with KSL.com. And I guess this one's, for the students here on this. I know a huge portion of this debate today came down to adding in Utah Tech as a nickname. I guess, what does that mean to you, especially you, Devin, as an athlete representing the university and sort of a national scale? I mean, even earlier this year, the NFL draft, they talked about Dixie State, and the whole debate was, can you even name where that is? I guess being a representative of the university on that scale, what does Utah Tech mean to you?
Well, first, it identifies where we're at. We're in Utah, beautiful state. We're not in wherever Dixie that name goes to. So that's one big thing that was big for me personally, big for the athletic department, big for school. I mean, we played schools in Texas, Georgia. We're playing Delaware next year, so we're going to fly across the whole map. So we have to have that big identifier of Utah. And then the Utah Tech is just a strong name, in my opinion. And I think it gets to the point and shows our academic mission and where we are at in our physical location. So I think it's a great quick name for us.
Thank you. We now have a question from Amy Nay with Fox 13.
Hi there. Thanks so much, Jill. I was just curious about the idea that I know was put forth as far as referring to the campus there as Dixie. I understand that was not something that the committee recommended. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Was that a question for me?
Whoever wants to take it, sure. Yes, please. Thank you.
That was the name that was discussed in the original legislation. I think it was part of the original bill to suggest that the campus be named the Dixie campus. There was debate in a couple of meetings about that. One of those in favor felt like it was an offering to the community to continue their local identifier as a local heritage school. It would be begun by their ancestors. And ultimately, the committee voted against sending that forward as a firm recommendation to the board for consideration. because there were a number of people who felt they didn't want to continue having that name on the campus. So again, this was a recommendation, not a decision. The recommendation was, motion was forwarded by the university by Mr. Jordon Sharp as a proposal to help the community feel more included in that. Maybe Mr. Osborne can talk about his feelings about a Dixie campus.
So I wasn't in favor of recommending the name for the Dixie campus. Me personally, if we went through this whole process, listening and learning and knowing the reason why we're in this process is because of the name and how it means to people outside this area. And I didn't see a point to us just going back to that same process of renaming something that's a part of our campus that we're trying to get so far away from it. I mean, being a student athlete and just being students in general, I know students come to visit the campus and, get to learn and see all the different buildings and stuff like that. And I felt as a recruiter, like one of the DSU would say ambassadors, if they had to say that this is the Dixie campus, it might cause a negative effect towards us. So I kind of wanted to stay as far away from that as possible.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any other hands. Do we have any other questions? Feel free to just chime in.
Yeah. Carter, again, this one's for Julie or even Jordan. I guess with this name, and obviously this is just one part of the process, how confident are you that this will be approved by the trustees and then approved by the legislature?
I would say I'm quite confident that this will be approved by the trustees. We have been listening to them in focus groups. They've been following the process, reading the minutes of the committee. The name that we have put forward fulfills all the requirements of the legislation, which is what we were focused on. As a committee, we kept coming back over and over again to our primary task, which was to come up with a name that gave us a location identifier in the state that would help us compete on a national scale, that would speak to our academic mission, and we think we have accomplished that. So we've had input from the two representatives from the Utah Board of Higher Education on this committee, and we feel comfortable with the representation they've given us, so we feel quite confident about what we're bringing forward. There might be others who would want to speak to that.
No one else wants to speak on that. I do have a question from Marjorie Cortez with the Deseret News.
Good morning. I thought I was unmuted, sorry. A year later, I'm still figuring this out. What was the vote on the proposal to name the campus Dixie?
What was the vote?
How many people voted for, against?
I can't remember that.
Okay.
Can't either. I'm trying to. We can get that for you, Marjorie, and text that over to you. Henry has the minutes and was taking all of that.
Okay. And then I had another question too about Polytechnic. I think that means a lot to, as Devin Osborne spoke during the meeting about growing up in California, and that term means something in a lot of high schools and colleges there, probably not so much in Utah. What needs to happen next to educate people what it means?
I'll take that on for a minute. In there is the challenge and the opportunity. As we started this mission and looking at this focus of our needs of our area, needs of our students, it's actually on our website. You can see there's a map of all of the polytechnics or technological universities in the United States, and there is a big hole right in our region and surrounding region, and the middle of that hole is St. George, Utah. And so the challenge is, of course, because we haven't had that in the past, there's some education that needs to take part, but at the same time, That's why Dixie State has this great opportunity to fulfill that need. And so it will be our job to start telling that story, but it's something we're excited to do. We found that it resonates and that it is exciting to students, it's exciting to partners, it's exciting to our staff and faculty. So we're willing and ready to take this on and to become the first in Utah.
Marjorie, may I add to that? This is Pat Jones.
Hi, Pat.
Everyone else involved. This was a pleasure actually serving on this committee. It was very interesting. You know, I had some questions about the polytechnic term when I began this journey too. I wasn't quite sure I understood completely what it was. And I thought that Provost LaCourse did a great job today of explaining in a simple terms what that means. And basically what he says is this is applied learning. This is applied learning so that students can actually apply right now with hands-on learning in whatever classes they are, even in English or some of the humanities classes, that this is something where they can have hands-on approach and prepare for their careers in a more integrated way. So it's more inclusive, and in the focus groups, they talked about that Polytechnic seems more inclusive than just tech. So anyway, I think the more people understand what Polytechnic means, which will be part of the, as Jordon said, the opportunity for Dixie State going forward and changing, if they do, I think people will understand why this is important, and also that Dixie State University has been doing this for 5 or 6 years already. They're already doing it, so it aligns very clearly with the actual experience that students have had in the last 5 to 6 years.
Thank you.
I'd also like to add really quick that that map that Dr. Sharp referenced, as well as other information about Polytechnic education, is available at dixie.edu/polytech, in case that resource is helpful to any of you. All right, do we have another question?
Hi there, this is Ariel Harrison with KUTV. Can I get just an additional comment on kind of the conversation surrounding this name recommendation now to the Board of Trustees on the university needing to grow into the Polytechnic aspect of the name, just like it had to grow into the term university? Thank you.
I can take that. If our provost was on, he could answer it more articulately, but I can tell you this has been something we've been working on very hard. I'll give you one example. So our focus will be a Polytechnic hands-on learning. We have a whole department that is dedicated to making sure that our classes fall into these hands-on learning opportunities. But also it's going to have a STEM focus. So we'll be a comprehensive, but then we'll go deeper in the STEM. We have added in the last 5 years over 111, and it's growing. It was about 111 programs. Of those 111 programs, 81% were in the STEM field. So Polytechnic is a way of teaching, which will be part of all of our departments and all of our classes, but it's also got that STEM focus, which we have added tremendously. So we are there. We're going to continue to grow it. We're going to continue to improve it. But we are confident that the work that's been done in our last strategic plan and this next strategic plan has got a great foundation, and we're moving forward and excited about that.
Great, thank you, Dr. Sharp, for that. Next question.
I have a question about what this has meant for the community. I mean, there were still divisions evident today. 3 committee members left early on in the meeting. And, you know, at the end, there was discussion about, you know, how difficult this has been. I was wondering if Chairman Beck could speak to that and how the community heals moving forward.
This has been an emotional issue for many people. A lot of people have ties to ancestors who settled this region, and there's been a lot of discussion around that, passion on both sides of this, as we learned from our students, particularly our student athletes, our minority students, our faculty, and others. We saw how limiting our name has been to them and how actually generous they have been to the university and the community, and opening their hearts and listening to those stories while carrying within their own hearts their own stories, their own history, their own potential. And I think that this name recommendation will alleviate a lot of the pressure that's been on the community. People will now be free to get behind and support something that is a unifying, inclusive, and freeing name. It can bring in people from all origins and all thought to this university, building upon the heritage of the past. I myself have ancestry that goes back to settling here in the 1850s. I know their sacrifices. I tend to believe they would be really proud of this step that opens up university to more thought, more participation from people inside the community and people who will come out from outside the university community and enrich this area. So I'm very excited about this time. I know there have been passion in trying to represent different points of view, but the potential that we have established today, the promise of the future for this whole area, I think is the most thrilling part of what we've accomplished. That the Devon Osbornes and the future Devon Osbornes can come here to this place, receive a credential that will give honor to their effort and striving here and their contribution, that Devon can go forward across the nation and wear a brand that he is proud of to represent, while also knowing that he wouldn't be at this school if it weren't for the contributions and sacrifices of early contributors, people who strove hard to keep a school open, who created a spirit of involvement and caring for students. And those of us who've attended this school know that that feeling of investment in students is alive and well, and now it will bless many others. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Chair Beck. Next question. All right, well, if we don't have any more questions, we can go ahead and ask, are there any panel members who have anything that they would like to share that hasn't been asked specifically?
I would like to offer a couple of things. This has been a meticulous and very careful professional process. I personally have listened to hundreds and hundreds of voices in this process, just myself. I've read the research, I've pored over it, and I know our committee members have also. We've had a sincere working committee. This is not a figurehead committee. I've been impressed with the efforts committee members have put into learning. Our student athlete, Devon Osborne, is a good example of that in his busy life, he has also invested carefully in the study of this and listening to many sides and perspectives that have come before the committee. We started by listening and listening and listening. We probably had most of our meetings listening. I think only the last 2 or 3 have been meetings where we've actually talked. But the meticulous work that has gone into preparing for this decision cannot be ignored. It's been industry standard that I would be willing to hold up to any naming group nationwide, worldwide. We've had honorable people participating, and I think that the process has brought about an excellent result.
Thank you, Chair Beck. Any other panel members who would like to offer a last statement?
I would like to just make a comment. You know, there have been many voices on this pro and con, and some people in the middle. But this decision is not an indictment on any one group. My belief and my experience here is that this is a decision that looks forward to the future, assuming the natural growth and metamorphosis of this region. So it clearly aligns with what the intentions are in the natural organic growth of this area and the demands that many of our potential employers and current employers are looking for.
So I would like to add on that too. Thank you, Pat. That sometimes the conversation is turned to some of the more negative aspects of why this needed to take place. I have served on the Dixie State Board of Trustees for 9 years, and I've watched this university grow and develop into something that is very different from the school I attended when I came here. It's the right time for this university to advance in this way and be named what it really is, and give it its true potential through this. That, as Patricia said, it's not an indictment on anyone. It's just time for the university to grow in this way. It will help our faculty, our researchers, our grant seekers, all who have to work within a university community, and all its network nationwide will be liberated to do this. And it's going to bring greater honor to this region than we've ever seen, building upon the good things of the past and moving ahead to a great future. I see that as being part of what's taking place today. Devin, maybe you have a final statement. You're very articulate.
I'll just say first, never in my wildest years that I think I'll be part of this process. When I came here January of 2017 on an official visit, not in my wildest dreams that I think I'll be sitting on the committee with all these great people and doing something so moving and as bettering our future and students' futures and all that. Because I'm a person that believes in students, and I believe that this university has some of the greatest students, from the arts to humanities to business to the athletes to even to the high school students taking concurrent enrollment. So it's like I'm just excited to see the future and how this university grows, and I think this is the right steps into making this arguably the top university in all of Utah and in the Western United States, and I can't wait to see it. And I'm proud to be able to, hopefully I get to wear the new name on my jersey next season, so I can't wait for that either.
Perfect. Well, thank you everybody so much for your comments. Our time has wrapped up, so I appreciate everyone being here. Like I mentioned, members of the media, I will be sending the recording of this as well as an official press release a little bit later, but I'll get the recording as soon as that is done rendering. And thank you so much everyone for being here. And with that, we will adjourn.